What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video review. Today we're going to take a look at Game of Thrones Tormund Giantsbane from Threezero, and I don't think you can order this anymore. It's out of stock, but other Game of Thrones figures you can get it from BigBadToyStore.com. I'll put the link down below. This is one of those figures where I'm kind of iffy about it, right? But a good buddy of mine hooked me up, Carlos. Big shout out to him with this, and Tyrion. He got a retirement sale, so I got this for an awesome deal. But let's take a look at him. Beautiful figure, honestly. For the price tag that they initially asked for it, for 170, I think it's pretty fair. Now, if you are familiar with Threezero, their licenses are pretty much, Walking Dead or Game of Thrones, something Breaking Bad. So TV shows that I really do love. They are as hit or miss as you could be, though. Although recently they've been putting some really good figures, but the price reflects it, though. They're not that expensive. They're pretty much, for the most part, under $200. And sometimes it does show why they're under $200. And then every once in a while, they get figures like him, like Tormund, who is amazing, that it turns out that it feels like, Hot Toys. And we say that because Hot Toys is the standard when it comes to 1/6, at least right now. We all know the hoopla about Queen Studios and all that stuff. We don't know yet. Their previews are amazing, but so far, I guess it's safe to say Hot Toys has been doing it for a long time. And Threezero trying to catch up, but still far ahead. But with that being said, the accessories for this guy, it's pretty awesome, not gonna lie. With his hands, it looks familiar, as you can see here, but they're actually fisted hands, and the other one is like a weapon holding hand. It is pretty big, this hands. Giantsbane has big hands, I guess, and you can see from the gloves, he does have Speckle of Snows in there. Pretty cool. But the hands, one complaint that I do have is that the hands doesn't kind of grip the weapons quite as I wanted to, like as close grip. And this is, I forgot what you call that, the stone that, for dragons and all that stuff, to kill the White Walker, something like that, like stone. Let me know in the comments what you name them. I don't really know the name of the sword either, but it looks pretty cool. Made out of plastic, but you can see the paint application is pretty nice in here. It does have that, again, this white snow, and they spend it much of the time in the show in winter, so it just makes sense that it does have like the snow dust and on every aspect of the figure. Again, I guess it's a makeshift axe made out of that dragon stone, or again, whatever you want to call that. Man, I love Game of Thrones. I think everyone who watched that show could agree, outside of the last season. But I keep on saying this. That doesn't erase the first 6 seasons that I thoroughly enjoyed the show. And with that being said, when the figure is good, I'll buy it from them. Kind of like this guy right here. You can see here that's like some real faux, I don't know, fur, I guess, on this axe. Again, pretty heavy. It has a lot of weight to it, so that is cool. The one thing that Threezero does not have is stand, so you have to provide your own. You can get it on eBay or anywhere else, or just the generic black stand. Honestly, saves you space. As far as the tailoring for this figure, there's a lot of things going on. But all of those things are pretty cool. Like you can see him. There's a lot of layers in here. There's a rope. Again, top notch for the price that they initially asked for this, which is $175. There's nothing more you can ask for. The tailoring is pretty good. I would say the body is a bit weak. That's one complaint that I do have. And it's weird because not all Threezero bodies are like this. This guy, I don't know, maybe because of, everything that he comes with, maybe he just became weak. But this is brand new. You saw it when I opened it. It has some, plastic in it. I don't know. For a brand new figure, I wasn't expecting, his legs are a bit weak, the elbows, all that stuff. But hey, it is what it is. Still one heck of a figure, so that's why I would suggest use a stand, just in case it topples over and all that stuff. So at least you are a bit safe on that end. You can see from the back, he does have all this fur on his clothing. As you know, they're wildlings, so they are homeless basically in this realm of Game of Thrones. So their outfit, or is not the best. As you can see from his looks right here, it has some rips, and it shows, right? Like even his scabbard there, his snow boots is kind of like makeshift, right? You can see at the bottom of his feet, he kind of just tied up. It's being held together like his snow boots, so he could walk without slipping and all that stuff, like some stone or whatever the case is. Let's look at the head sculpt now. This is one aspect that I really like on this figure, because again, Threezero, hit or miss. This guy right here, and you can see from this picture, even on real time, he doesn't have a lot of texture in him. And that's, I don't even know if I'm gonna complain about that, because that's just how he is. Like this. Look at this guy right here. But I think they captured the likeness. I would just love a little bit more, I guess, a bump up in the definition of the paint, perhaps, or a little bit of wrinkles here and there. Some minor details. But that's pretty much about it. I love how the hair is kind of slicked back. The color of the beard. Again, that picture that I showed you, it has a lot of highlights in the face. You can see some white in his forehead and his nose, and I didn't particularly do that in this figure. I should have blasted a nice white light in his face, but I wanted to remain neutral as much as possible. I don't do any color correction when I do my reviews, because I wanted to be as truthful, as out of the box as possible here. So I really don't. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty strong. Let's go to the articulation. You can see, push the neck down. There's a lot of layers of clothing in here, but with that being said, you can still stretch him out. It's pretty loose in fabric, so you don't have to worry about any hindrance there. For the most part, it's not tight. It's the body itself. Look at that. It's a bit loose for a brand new figure. Waist, the legs, knees. It's not like it's gonna flail or anything. It's just like when you hold it, it's not the type. Look at that. Like, that's beautiful right there. It's not the part. It's not what you would expect from a figure that you just open. Where it's. But with that being said, you can still hold a pose. It's just kind of loose, but yeah, that's it. You can have some articulation there. Poses, we'll put them in some poses here before we wrap this thing up. Again, because of the outfit that he does have, double jointed on elbows, knees, you can put him in some dynamic poses. But it's Tormund. He's more of a kind of like Gimli, so to speak. He's just a tank and it attacks. You don't really need to put him in any sort of fancy pose or anything like that, but you could, if you want to push this guy to the limit. But here he is, just resting with his axe, just pretty chill. I like this pose right here. This is kind of just like a lumberjack pose type of thing. Again, I use this to support the weight of the axe on his shoulder, because like I mentioned, it is a bit heavy, and the way the hand grips, it doesn't, you can see it from here, it doesn't grip the entire handle, which makes it a bit wobbly. So it's up to you to be creative to make sure that it doesn't fall off. But I do like the pose that I do have here. Here he is now in the jungle. Believe it or not, it's not all winter when they were like walking around. Dual wielding weapons here. So this is a bit more of a, action pose, I guess, so to speak. I do like this. Looking good. It hasn't fallen off yet. Like I mentioned, those weapons are a bit heavy. So you can see him turning around here. nice and steady. And as far as height comparison, the White Walker is just massive, just a massive figure. And you can see Jon Snow a little bit shorter than Tormund, but all three of them together looks pretty good. I like the combination. So my Game of Thrones is growing, and the good part about this is that they are pretty inexpensive. So you can do what I do, which is pick and choose the version that I want, and go on from there. And my final thoughts on this figure, I think if you have the opportunity to get him for close to retail, I would. Or there's certain Game of Thrones figures right now that's on sale at Big Bad Toy Store. You should get them, like especially for 1/6 scale. Some of them are on sale, like King Joffrey. He's not the best looking figure, but at 146, and that's the deluxe version. That is a price of a third party figure. I had my eye on Brienne of Tart, the Hound. I'm regretting the fact that I did not get that. There's certain characters that Arya. The bad part about Arya is she's not the best looking figure. Bran looks good, with a wheelchair and all that stuff. That I'm keeping an eye on those. I'm looking for a sale, maybe like free shipping or 10% off or something like that. Because Brienne is right now at 176, so that's really tempting for me. But without Arya to go along with her, there is an Arya, but I'm not a biggest fan of it. They could improve upon. And Threezero does that. They release a new version of Tyrion, and that's so much better than the first one. So, just keeping my hands crossed, fingers crossed here that they would produce a better figure down the line. Or maybe, InArt would make their own, and you can supplement them because you don't want to buy everything InArt. That would be really expensive. But thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully you like this video. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.